glasses. Well, hello, hello. We are here, gathered. Thank you very much. While I just get myself sorted out here with my little buttons. How you doing? My name is. Well, I'm assuming I'm on. I better just make sure I'm on. I think I am on. Yes. Hello, everyone. My name. Oh, actually, I'm just going to check it on here because Oh, yes, I am. Well. G'day, my name is Photo Joe, and welcome to the Photo Jam. For the next hour, we're going to talk about photography, photography tips, photography news, anything to do with photography, basically. So, this is, you can send me a photo. You can send me a photo. How about you can send me a question through the Facebook Live page or for some reason, my smarterdigital.com.au/livestream isn't working tonight at the moment. I don't really know what's going on. But hey, if you can somehow get a message to me, I will get through to you as soon as I can. Well, probably next week if I don't see your messages today. I just better make sure. Yes. Oh, how are we going? Yes, we've already got a few people on there. How you going? So, welcome. Nikon's been in the news a lot lately, and the general commentary was that Nikon new mirrorless cameras were, to say, not great, and whether they were actually going to go down the photographic gurgler. But no, they're not going nowhere. And tonight I will be talking about a new Nikon partnership that they have with a couple of flash companies. Now, even though Nikon do actually produce their own flash units, this definitely looks like an interesting partnership. So we'll be talking a little bit about that tonight. I also got an email from a student through the week, and they wanted to buy a lens, and they encountered a terminology that said focus by wire. It sent me a message about what that really meant. So we'll have a talk about this little photographic technology, which is not only just what's the word I'm trying to say? It's not just for photography, but it's for other bits and pieces as well, for cars actually. And my vintage jam camera today is going to be the one of Olympus's first SLR camera, which was donated to me this week by one of my my students. So we're going to kind of have a bit of a chat, a little bit about that. So sit back, grab yourself a drink, get ready for some learning, maybe a few laughs, and we will get to you right now. Yes, very much so. Welcome. Boy, it's Tuesday. I have changed my evenings from a Thursday evening to a Tuesday evening. See, now we're coming out of this this crisis of being locked down and stuff. So now Thursday nights, there's all this live entertainment. So I need to go to the live entertainment so I can then talk to you guys about live entertainment. Now, I also got a few messages throughout the week saying, yes, you've had your haircut. Oh, I should actually just turn my light on back here. There we go. Oh, hello. That made me a little bit more brighter. I finally got the haircut. The COVID cut finally got done. And I don't know. It's there. It's kind of all happening, and it's all normal. And I guess everybody else out there has had their haircut as well. And if they're getting their haircut, well, hey, COVID is all that. You exciting yourself? Are you excited? I'm excited, certainly. So, so many things this week to talk about. So now I always, I have a bit of a few things that I talk about every week, and I always. People always used to say to me, "Hey, have you got any funny stories about, the business that you're in?" And there's always some kind of stories to talk about. So look, when I started Smarter Digital, I was basically helping people to use their new cameras, to photograph what they, products that they were that they had, and even just even things like video editing as well. So, and video editing has become a lot more easier today than the old days. But it reminds me of this client that I used to have. So he was at Huntleys Point, which if you're in Sydney, Huntleys Point is a beautiful area just over the Gladesville Bridge, and it's kind of just under the bridge. And I met this gentleman who, I can't remember his name, but hey, it doesn't matter. And he had bought this JVC video camera. And he'd gone to Africa, and he had had some amazing footage. And so he had come into the shop that I was working at, and we had this product. It was known as Easy DV, which was a video editing product, which was just really, really good. It was like $500, which sounds like a lot in those days, but considering that video editing products could have been, a card more than anything, because we had to put a card into your computer. Those cards were like $1,500, a few $1,000s. So here was a card for $599, which had a really a very great product for editing, and so it all worked really well. And this gentleman had bought this Easy DV package and this video camera off me, and he said, "Hey, would you help me work out how to put this video together?" So I was like, "Of course I would." So, and so it was a regular thing. I think it used to be on a Monday night. Would go there, 8 o'clock. Yes, 8 o'clock. It was 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Yeah, hey, whatever. So I would rock up there for 2 hours worth of showing him how to use his editing program. So, because he had this great footage, so I was showing him how to import the videos into his computer. And in those days, we used to use a Firewire cable. Now, a Firewire cable was, was fast transfer of data from a camera to a computer. So, we had USB in those days. And if you remember, if you go back that far back, we had USB 1, we had USB 2, now we got USB 3. But Firewire got in there as a product that could also not only just pass the information through, but I could work, say, the video camera. So the video camera was connected to the Firewire. I would be able to control that using the program. So if I needed to stop, fast forward, rewind, it was all done through the Firewire cable, which is what we see a lot today now. I mean, even in fact, USB 3 is very, very good in that situation today. So I would rock up there, and I would download this video, and all this video is really, really kind of cool. Africa, lions, giraffes, elephants, the whole Africa thing. And really at that time, it was a bit new for me in regards to seeing people who had gone to Africa. So it was very exciting to see all this footage. So we'd rock up, start editing this video, and the 2 hours, I would be there for 2 hours, right? And he had a beautiful little house there just under the bridge, I must just say. So rock under there. He said, "Hey, would you come back next week just to continue a little bit more?" And that's not unusual for me to go back to a client's place a couple of times. So I went back the following week, and we would continue editing the video, and just copying and pasting and trimming and adding some fades and a couple of titles here and there. And another 2 hours went by, and I thought that probably was enough for him to just appreciate, or not appreciate, but to understand how to work the Easy DV program. So he said, "Hey, would you mind coming back next week?" And I was like, "Well, hey, how am I going to say no to that?" So off next week we were again and started to edit this video and just kept editing this video and wow, and he was telling me all these great stories that he encountered when he was in Africa, right? So not only was I editing this video for him and showing him how to use, but I was also getting some great stories of of his trip to Africa. Well, finished that couple of hours again. Hey, would you mind coming back next week? Well, how can I say no to that? So back again. Now, this went on until I finished editing his video. So I think I must have gone back there at least 10 times. Now, I wasn't going to complain about that. I did feel a little bit bad though, because I felt like I was there to show him how to use a product and how to edit. But I think at the end of the day, he just wanted me to edit it. And we had great conversations, always have a cup of coffee and, have a bit of a laugh and all that. And I just think back to those days and I just thought, I kept saying to him, I feel really bad here that I'm not actually like, you're not doing this, that you really should be doing it. And he was saying, hey, that's fine. Do you have a problem with my money? And when he said that, I just mouth dropped. And I got to say, it was just, I didn't know what to say. And he says, well, if you have a problem with my money, I'll go, no, it's okay. So I continue and until we finished his video and it was a great product. So, a funny moment in my days of teaching. So let's have a look. I'm just going to have a look over here. It looks like we've got a few people there. We've got Min. If Min, if you're watching there, hi, how you going, Min? Nice to see you, Min. Great photographer. If you get to follow him on Instagram, I'll put down he'll let me know what his Instagram page, his Instagram tag is. I want to say, hello, Brad from up good old Innisfail, up there, up at top end of Queensland, top end. What do you call that? You call that the top end? Now, I should know that because I do go up there every now and again. But yeah, far north Queensland, FNQ. Hey, Brad, how you going? Look, yeah, Brad, testy times. I'm never really quite sure how to say that. There's another great Facebook page if you're listening in, where he kind of reviews all these little products from shortwave radios to DJI products. Mate, go check out his Facebook page. Thanks for coming through. Old days editing. Wow, old days editing. I tell you, editing has been video editing has been one of those kind of situations that it's getting a lot easier today. We can do it so easily on our phones. God, my things like iMovie, for example. But anyway, I digress from my normal kind of plan. So here we are. It's 8:14. It's Tuesday night. Here we are. It's the Photo Jam with Photo Joe, and there's always a little bit of information. So hello. I just need to quickly just do something here. I'm just going to do that to my editing program. So it is now time for Photo Joe, breaking news. I know, a bit corny, but hey, whatever. Do you know, actually, and I guess today what we need to be aware of is that, hello, no, I need to go back to breaking news. So Nikon this week, Nikon Australia, by the way, Nikon Australia, not Nikon Japan, Nikon Australia, announced this week that they're going to be collaborating with Nissin Japan and Pro Foto, who is a lighting system. Oh, hello. Now that's really interesting because I kind of expect, there we go. Let's try that again. My producer, get happening there, producer. So Nikon have released that they're going to be collaborating with Nissin Japan and Pro Foto, who is a flash business, a flash and speedlight business. Now Pro Foto is in Stockholm, Sweden, and both companies make speedlight and studio lighting products. Now, Nissin Japan, and you might have seen them, Nissin's been around for quite a long time, is a speedlight manufacturer with a history of over 60 years since they established in 1959. Now, Profoto is the world's leading manufacturer of light shaping products for professional photographers. And to date, both companies have released quite a large number of speedlight products that are compatible with the Nikon cameras. So with this collaboration with each of the brands, they're going to be able to further enhance the compatibility of especially the Nikon mirrorless cameras with their lighting products. Now, along with their own Nikon speed lights. So if you kind of, oh, hello, that fell into me. That's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be, oh, that's better. I kind of feel like it's better when it's back there. Now, Nikon have been making their own speedlight products, but what they're doing is they're increasing their compatibility with Nissin Digital and Pro Photo. Now, you'd be thinking by the amount of times I'm saying Nissin and Pro Photo that they're actually paying for this, but they're not. They should be. If you're out there, Marwin, hey, I can talk more about it. But they're going to further increase their reliable options for Nikon camera users, which they will say, and it's the quote that they use, they're going to expand the possibilities for imaging expression. So what does that really mean? Well, frankly, we're not really sure. But I guess, there's no further details have been provided at this time. And it just seems clear that Nikon is hoping for a more tightly integrated compatibility and control when using the Nissin Pro Photo lighting system with its current and future lineup of Nikon cameras. Now, the world of mirrorless cameras, they have, as I said a little bit earlier, they haven't been up there, right? I mean, there's a lot of mirrorless cameras out there. There's we've got a Fuji system, we've got Olympus system, Sony banged it out, banged it straight out, right? Canon come in, Nikon have come in, they're kind of coming with their from their DSLR cameras into this mirrorless system, but Nikon just kept falling behind because they just had a lot of stuff going on. So they're here to stay, and they're just teaming up with other companies, just like other camera companies have as well. And I guess, the thing is that, like, generally companies don't like to share technologies. For example, if you look at, say, lens companies, for example, like, say, Tamron and Sigma. Now, they make lenses to suit Nikon, Canon, Sony, etc., all of that. But they don't get the specs, right? Those lens companies don't get the specs from the camera companies to make their products fully compatible as such, right? For example, things like to make the focusing, and I think probably that's the biggest thing, to make the focusing accurate, fast, and just bang, just straight there. And if you've ever had if you've ever compared an original brand to a Tamron, Sigma, etc., you'll find that speed is always the factor and accuracy is always the factor. So this makes the original products to have the edge over the compatible products, right? So, considering that some of those compatible products can be half the price of the originals, this guarded technology can be a good reason to get the original brand, especially if you're using accessories professionally, right? Now, you can't afford to miss a shot. When it comes to lighting especially, having a flash unit that doesn't flash at the moment you want it to is not something that you want. Now, wireless technology has been a great invention for all of us, and man, don't we just all love it. Our phones have got Bluetooth, we've got Wi-Fi. Oh my God. If you're an AirDrop person, is that just way awesome? You're going to be an Apple person for that. Sorry, Brad, I know that's your Android. But one thing that Nikon has been famous for, and I guess, look, this is the whole idea, is that Nikon are sharing that technology, or their technology. They're sharing it with the Pro Photos and the Nissan, so they can have a product that's going to be accurate and it's going to be always on the go, right? And the thing is that Nikon has always been famous for their camera systems. Oh, I should just go to my next picture. I keep forgetting because I run everything here. I gotta remember that I'm actually got other things to show. I think I showed that one. I'm not sure. My goodness, did I show that one? Oh, okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, it's in front of my. No, we can't have that. It's got to be behind me. There we go. Thank you very much. I digress. One more time. One of the things that Nikon has always been famous for in their cameras is their lighting flash system known as CLS, or the Creative Light System. Now, the system was designed so that you could use their speed lights. A speed light is a flash system, like so, A speed light for off camera, for creative looks in a photograph. This system is great. The system was great because what you could actually do, or what you can actually do with more top-end cameras of the Nikons, not necessarily the entry-level cameras, but you can pop up the flash on the Nikon cameras, and it sets off the speed lights, the original Nikon speed lights that are off camera. So you can have an off-camera speed light on a stand, for example, and a little flash on top of the camera would set that off. Now you could run up to like 4 flashes at different outputs. So you can have all these flashes, and within the camera itself, you could adjust the level of each of those flashlights. Now the problem, I mean, it's such a great idea, and if you're in a studio setup, way awesome. If we're also in an area that was darkish, that was kind of also very handy as well. But they were what's known as line of sight. So the flash needed to, or the speed light needed to see the flash. And so it was line of sight is what was called. And so the problem was that it wasn't always very reliable in bright situations. And so companies created triggers, and triggers were designed to be able to put a transmitter on the camera itself. And Nikon have a whole pile of different transmitters. I think they were known as MB settings. And I know that if you're out there, Craig, you'll let me know which one that is because I can't remember what it was called. And those triggers are radio controlled, so RF wireless triggers. So they travel a lot distance, the biggest distance, so that way that the camera had the transmitter on the top, the flash that was further away had a built-in transmitter, or you would add a transmitter. And some of you might remember a brand called Pocket Wizards. They're still around. Now, the thing is that it's a great system, and I guess what we're seeing is that they want to incorporate the Pro Photo and the Nissin system to be able to work in conjunction with each other. So that basically you can open the camera up and you don't have to have any extra devices, that it's all within the menu of the camera. That is what I see is going to be happening with this system here. Now, I'll just quickly, commander mode, the commander mode, thank you, Craig. I'll just quickly go back. Bestie Ties Reborn on YouTube, bestest, let's say bestest times. So hashtag bestest times, as in you're having the bestest times, or best test times. Anyway, if you're on my Facebook, you'll see it's written there, Brad. Thank you very much. Hey, I don't know. I kind of need to hear you say it. So how you say it, it's like Marino. People call me Marino, or they call me Moreno. Moreno is the right way, right? Or Photo Joe, that'll do. Very good. But, you know, as we're talking about lighting today, I kind of thought that was a really, it was a good segue to talk about light, because lighting really is the most vital and really the most complicated aspects of photography, and very underappreciated. Now, do you know that the word photography derives from the Greek word photographe? And for all those Greek people out there, I know I didn't say that right, but, you know, photo stands for light and graphe is for drawing, right? And apparently this term was brought up by this French painter called Hercules Florence. How do I remember this? Because I had to remember this, right? And he was a painter, an inventor who used it in his diary to describe the process of photography. But, you know, I guess as a newbie who picks up a camera, often, you know, they pick up the camera and they start to shoot, right? And they don't really give much of a toss about the lighting too much, right? When it gets dark, you know, they just crank up the ISO, or they just use the flash. But just like manual mode on a DSLR or on an SLR camera, knowing a few lighting ideas can really take your images up to the next level. Now, photography with lights doesn't have to be that complicated. Look, like anything, when you get the hang of it, it can actually be a beautiful thing, right? Now, I've done a few workshops in photography studios, and you know, when the people have walked in, you know, they just go, "Whoa, this is like way too much. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this because it's just, you know, it's just all too hard." But it doesn't have to be, right? That's the whole idea. So understanding light is really, you know, understanding light. The crucial part about understanding light, have I said that 3 times? Is that we really just, let me just say that again. Understanding light in photography, right? That's what we're talking about. It's really just about where the photographer places the light source, right? Being natural or artificial. Now, if you put the light in front of a subject, just bang, straight in front, right? It produces a bit of a flat image. Really, that's what it does. And it's kind of, in a way, it's a little bit like, like that, right? There's the sun. It's right straight on my face, bang, flat light, right? Now, when you're working with natural light, you're not gonna, you're just gonna move the subject around, right? That's really how that's going to work. You're going to get the subject to say, okay, well, here's the light. I'm gonna get you to move around. So we might get a situation like this, right? There's my beautiful Marie girl. So the light's coming in, and I can move her around. I can kind of say, hey, move your face around so that the light is facing your light. The light is facing your face, for example, and we can work with that light. And it's the same thing with artificial light. Okay, artificial light is just about the placement of the lights relative to the subject, right? So when you kind of, when you put a flash on top of a camera, or you've got the light on top of the camera, well, hey, you're just going to get, a flat light. Now, if you also, the advantage of having a light on the front is that you can have a situation like, like this, for example, where you get this, bang, it's just flat. It's just flat, right? But it can be advantageous if you've got light that's behind your subject. Let's say I was standing in the darkness. Oh, sorry, if I was standing with a whole pile of light behind me, and that tends to happen quite a fair bit. I'm trying to find that shot. Which I actually thought that I had, which was going to be a really dark light behind me. No, a very bright light. Take two. You can use a speed light in front of you to fill in that light, all right? Anyway, now what I really wanted to say is that we have a cloudy day. Now, cloudy days, I've always been very, very much into cloudy days because it's an excellent example of soft light, right? So soft light is one of those things that we love in photography. We love it in photography because what tends to happen is that when you've got soft light, you don't get shadows. Yeah, you don't get shadows. And am I looking for something? I am actually. If you're thinking, wow, Joe doesn't seem to be looking into the camera, because I'm looking for a file that I thought I actually had and I didn't. But that's okay. I don't mind. I'm just going to talk about it, right? So we all talk about this is the thing about live TV. There's no editing. This isn't like, let me try that again. This is like live TV. Wow, did I just screw up the last 5 minutes? I probably did, but hey, that's okay. Anyway, let's just continue on where I was going on, which I think I was talking about light. And I'm just going to get back into my light situation because I've always talked about light being, cloudy days. Cloudy days are really the best days to take photographs. And why is that? That's because the light is much, much smoother than when I was showing you this kind of light, for example, right? That's very, very harsh lighting. And when we're using a flash system, we can get very harsh lighting with flash. And we don't want that. We want our photographs to look nice and beautiful. So when using a flash, you're just going to be really careful about how you use your flash. Just like that. Do we really want to use the flash straight on? Well, hey, that's just going to give us certain looks that we don't necessarily want. Oh, I've seen that picture before. I know that. But do you know that with certain flashes, especially if you have like a bounce flash, for example, that's going to give you a softer light because you're bouncing the light off the ceiling, for example. So, for example, we could have this because I shot that particular photograph with the flash pointing up to the side. Now that's one of the type of things that we can create using a bounce flash system where we can bounce the light. Now we can also bounce the light off many different situations. This is all going to soften the light that's coming off that flash that can be quite harsh. So here is my shot that I took when I had the flash bouncing off the wall, and you can see it how the light is off to the side of my face, and on the other side, it just happened to be a really nice bright day. So that was like coming from a window. So it was really nice to get that kind of lighting there. Now, flash, for example, is one of those situations that you can muck around. There's so many different types of flashes that you can get, but not only can you get the flash, there's also a whole pile of different type of devices that you can get. Something like this, for example. Okay, so this can sit on your flash. It's known as a diffuser. And this diffuser, oh, I should actually, oh no, you can see that. This diffuser just pops over the top of the flash and actually diffuses the light so you don't get such harshness. Now, if you're doing function photography, and Craig, you'll agree with me on this, you know, function photography, we tend to use the flash and we look at the ceiling, oh yeah, we can bounce off that and have this beautiful kind of lighting effect that's going to not give us that really harsh flashness. We don't want that. We don't want that. We would prefer that, you see, and it actually looks more natural in essence, right? Or even bouncing the flash. You know, to have the camera. Oh, hello. Let me go this way. To have the camera and bounce off a wall, for example, all the type of things with just a speed light. Now, these speed lights, they can make they can make life very, very easy for you when you are encountering a situation where lighting is got very harsh shadows, or you're just in a dodgy light situation, right? Now, that's what we call soft lighting, where we're bouncing the flash, okay? Bounce flash. It's really the way of creating a big area of space to be able to diffuse the light. And by directing your flash at a larger object, you'll get that surface that becomes a big diffuser, which just softens that lighting that's going to land on your face. And photographers working with models often use many different types of diffusers. Now, obviously, yeah, that was one of the type of the diffusers. We can have these type of diffusers as well. They can fit onto the, whoops, let's try that side. That can actually sit on top of the flash just to make that surface, because we're trying to make that into that, and that softens the light. These things are just about, they're so cheap. They're so cheap. My goodness, once again, as I show you this image, I need to be there. I need to be in front of that picture there. Diffusers. Cheap as chips they are. There are many different types of diffusers. There's soft boxes, there's beauty lights, there's octa diffusers, and they just all have different ways of diffusing the light. And the larger the lighting setup, the softer the light. Now, the other one that's really fun to play, I like to play with contour lighting. Contour lighting is, instead of diffusing the light, it can actually focus the light into a particular spot. And these ones here, for example, this is known as a Gary Fong. Some of you might have heard of a Gary Fong. You'll see that there's a cage on the front there, and instead of the light being diffused out, it's very, very directional. And so when you get a very directional lighting, then you basically have a situation where you can play with the light like so, where you can really like blacken out the back, and just highlight the subject that you're looking at. Now, don't leap to the conclusion, just because I'm talking about that, photography lighting is all about flashes and strobes. I mean, sure, speed lights can play a vital role in your photo setups, but natural light is one of the most common types of lighting in photography. And if you're outdoors, that's the light from the sun and everything that the sun is bouncing off. So things like, oh, hello, as I just pull over the side here, things like reflectors, yeah, they can help you add, some specific areas of light to a photo. So they act as a mirror and can shine the light into your subject's faces and eliminate shadows, and these are very handy. They come in different kind of colors. I mean, that's if you don't want to get the light on there, and inside there's a diffuser, and there's also a gold version of that too. And you'll see that especially used television. People tend to use that quite a fair bit. But don't forget, you really can become a true natural light photographer without even using the flash or a strobe. Now, the thing about the speed light is that when you do attach it to a camera, it just uses your camera's metering system. So if you ever see there's a terminology known as TTL, through the lens metering. It basically just looks at the lighting, and as soon as you take that photo, the light output from the flash is automatically metered for pretty much perfect exposed shots using a speed light. And that's where Nikon are going to go, because obviously there are so many other types of lighting systems, and just to have that lighting system to be able to be totally compatible with your camera system is where Nikon is going to go with that. So really, by far the best starting place for you to use is to use natural lighting and learn how to work with different natural photography lighting. But keep it basic, you know. By keeping it basic, you'll learn the fundamentals of light. Shoot outdoors, play with different lighting setups like in direct sunlight or on cloudy days, filtered under trees, and just shooting in the dark. Now, you know, that's how you're going to get to learn to play with lighting. And then you start with one speed light and a speed light on a stand. That is where you're really going to have a lot of fun in terms of shooting with speed lights. Now we also over the last few years, I was starting to use continuous lighting. And look, we're going to talk about using LED lights another time, because that's just another whole subject again. And of course, you walk into a shop, right, and you're going to hear it from all the salespeople. Oh, you got to get this lighting. You got to get this flash. You know, we all want that edge. We all want to feel we can improve our photography with the new gear. And there's so much available for us today. When you get onto eBay or you go to a shop, or you know, you just got to know how to use it, and to find that piece of equipment that really easily puts you into the draw of all the results that you really want, but somehow you don't get them, right? Now, all the companies do it. Buy me, buy me, buy me. You'll become a better photographer by buying my product. But, you know, unfortunately, this happens to me as well with guitars. I'm a guitar player. I look at all this stuff and I go, oh, I think that pedal's going to make my guitar sound so much better. And quite frankly, that's rubbish. Okay, no piece of gear is going to suddenly launch your photography into these new heights. And sure, look, you occasionally can need a specific piece of gear for a specific outcome, but the heavy lifter in getting quality photographs is really your skill. So don't fall for all the hype. Get your skills up with what you already have, and that gives you the knowledge of the equipment that you might actually need. We all tend to fall into the gear luster mentality. And if you have endless money, and I certainly don't, you can end up with a lot of useless equipment. And I've been to people's houses that I've seen that with. And last Sunday, I had a whole bunch of people who were in the rocks with me, looking for some creepy things around the rocks. The rocks is such a beautiful area to photograph, and I just love shooting it at night. And we just got a couple of images, or just a couple of photos from the other day. And I just want to say, Graham, thank you very much. I've made it on. Thanks for a great night on Sunday. Graham was there on my session on Monday. Now, we had such a great time. We went a little bit over time. We started at 7 o'clock. It was meant to finish at 9:30. I think we finished at about 10:15. But, you know, we had such a great time. These are photos that have been taken by some of the folks that were there on the night. Graham, I got your photos this afternoon. Thank you. We'll put them up for another night. But boy, I tell you, we had this creepy guy who was trying to, he was trying to creep us all out. And let me just say, I will be running this session again. It was we just had such a great night. We just had a great night. And I don't know. I just want to thank everybody that was there on that particular night. It was such a great night. And I'm going to be running that workshop again soon. So get in touch if you're interested in attending. And look, this Sunday coming up, I'm going to be walking the streets of Marrickville to take some mega cool photos. And you don't need to have a fancy schmancy camera. Now, those night sessions, they need a little bit more, they do need a camera. But on Sunday, if you want to come to what is it called? It's my graffiti workshop on the 21st, which just happens to be my beautiful wife's birthday on the same day. You can come and create a masterpiece, because you are just going to be hanging around me. And I'm going to just show you some real cool tips with your current camera your current equipment. And people aren't going to believe that you took it with, well, with just a phone. So now this popular workshop, we look at textures and colors. That's just really abundance. And in this Marrickville session, I just go to a different session, a different route every time, because it's just such a great area. And look, I'll be doing other areas as well, like Newtown and Stanmore. There's just so much beautiful graffiti and textures around here. Some hidden gems to photograph that we combine with the rules of streetscape and with close-up photography for a really easy to digest understanding of exposure basics in one session. Hopefully, if the sun is out, we'll get some glorious light where we can get, that time of the afternoon, which will just enhance your visions and your images. And with that, also, I hope you'll understand some hidden features within your camera or your phone. So if you want to get in touch for this Sunday, just let me know and we will be there. I will be back with you just after this small break. Well, thank you very much, and welcome. We are here. It's 8:43 on Tuesday night, and welcome to the show. So I had a mate of mine this week who was buying an Olympus lens this week, and he was after the 75 1.8 lens. If you're an Olympus person, you'll know how beautiful that lens is. And he read that it had a thing known as focus by wire, and he just didn't understand what that meant. Now, normally a focus ring is mechanically connected. So when you look at, say, this lens here, this is a cutaway of a lens. Normally the focus ring is mechanically connected to some of the actual lenses. So elements, or the lenses, when you turn the ring, it moves the glass forwards and backwards. Now, manual focusing by wire is like, I think you might have heard in the car industry, known as what's called drive-by-wire, and where the gas pedal is actually not connected to the engine, right? Like in the old days, the accelerator pedal by a cable would be connected to the carburetor, and that would let in the amount of petrol into the carburetor. But today, it's more of an electronic switch. It tells the computer, when you press the pedal down, how much petrol to put into your engine. So what focus by wire is that the manual focus ring is actually not connected physically to the lenses, but to a focusing mechanism that is more electronic. So rather than you moving the lenses forwards and backwards, there's an electronic process signal that's telling the lenses to move forwards and backwards. So in practice, that means that the lens has to be mounted on the camera body for it to need to work because, well, it's being powered by the camera body itself. Now, some focus-by-wire systems can give the user some selectable speeds, and that's really good for when you're shooting video. So when you're shooting video, generally video people will focus in manual, and they might want to be playing with a depth of field. And so by focusing to the foreground, to the background, either slowly or quite quickly, is something that focus by, and smooth as well, is where the focus by wire can help. Now, manual focusing, like what we're used to, which is connected to the mechanical system, does achieve finer manual adjustments, right? So you can be manually adjusting it and you're right on the button for if you're really requiring smaller adjustments. But the autofocus system's going to be a bit slower because when your autofocusing system and you're having to move these gears forwards and backwards, it can, in the lens barrel, it can make the focus system a bit slower. So the focus by wire can actually be a faster, quicker system for focusing. So it really depends on what you're using your lens for. And pretty much also, I guess, there are situations that you don't really have a choice, that you're going to get focused by wire or focused by what we call helical. Most of the new lenses, especially if you are in the mirrorless system, are all focused by wire today. Most of the older lenses are still the helical system. Now, autofocus systems really do rely on contrast and technology. So no matter what type of system that you have, the contrast and the technology that's been developed throughout the years has really helped in nailing the focus. And when you press that autofocus button in darker systems, it is harder to focus. And we encountered that the other night. And how you use your camera and its specific functionality can help you to get a better strike photos in darker areas. Now, on Tuesday, the 30th of November, I thought I had it. No, yes, I do. On the 14th of November, we're going to be doing a black and white night noir photography shop. And the aim of this photography is to get you to understand the basics of, fundamentals of taking in low light photographs. Similar to, we won't be chasing ghosts this time. We'll probably be chasing light rails and lots of really cool areas in the city. And, the city is now revamped with so much awesome architecture that we'll get some awesome photos in the city. So with that, I'll also show you some hidden secrets in your camera menu to help you take better photos more often. So if you want to be getting in that, just let me know and I will get in touch with you in regards to that, because sessions is what I'm all about. Brought to you by smarterdigital.com.au/livestream, I guess, tonight. So, but hey, guess what? It's photo jam time. And tonight I'm going to talk about quite a unique camera, a one-off, I'm not going to say a one-off camera because they did make a few of them, but it's a unique camera known as the Olympus FtL, and I had one this week that was donated to me. I'd like to thank Uncle Frank for donating me this particular camera here. The Olympus FtL. It's a 35mm SLR camera. It was launched by Olympus in 1971 using the traditional, and I'll just kind of take this off here, the traditional 42mm screw mount. Now, the screw mount lens, right, was, you had to screw them on. And most companies was using the screw mount lenses, which took a long time to screw on and took a long time to screw off. And then eventually companies made their own mounts, right? So you kind of bolt, click, and you're on. But this was the first of the Olympus SLR cameras, and the screw on the back, it's known as a 42mm because it's 42mm on the side. Now, it was replaced by the OM1 a year later, which was presented at Photokina in 1972. Now, Photokina is this huge photo industry conference where there is at least 10 football fields of photography, cameras, equipment, and anything that you could think about photography, which I was so lucky to be able to attend in 2016. 2016, yes. Just before it started to kind of go downhill because it's been a bit of a struggle. Photokina was great. People would go there, they would be introduced to these new products, and then that information would get out to the world. Today, we have the internet. So as soon as someone releases something, it's out there straight away. Anyway, in an interview with a former Olympus designer, they said that the FtL was a stopgap model for the international market that was actually made under pressure for the from the sales departments, because Nikon and Canon had already released a camera and Olympus hadn't. And so Olympus had to get something out there, and so they did with this FtL camera. Now, the chief designer at the time maintains that the FtL was not designed by Olympus, which means that they have bought it from somebody else. And if you look at it, it looks very similar to a Pentax Spotmatic. Now, the FtL and the Olympus OM1 did have similar technologies between the two, and it really had to do with the reading of the light coming into the camera. Now, when you look at, let's have a look. If I have a camera shot that gets me close up. There we go. There we go. So if we kind of look at the lens here, there's a little point there. I'll just see if I can get that to you. Oh, there it is up there where my finger is. And that little dot there was designed for the aperture. Okay, then, so if I kind of just do that, you'll see that that's how the aperture works, right? So the whole idea was that traditionally when screwing on, let me go back to my old picture. Oh, there I am, back again. Traditionally, when you're screwing the lens onto the camera, the pin doesn't always sit in the exact position. So things like the varying wear of that pin, for example, or product tolerances when they make these products, even the user strength when they attach the lens, you couldn't really get that point when you screwed it onto the camera to join up with the light meter system that's built into the camera. So what Olympus did with this particular FtL, and I'll just show you as I screw this back on here again, right? There's this little pin, right? Oh, I've got to get my close-up shot again. There we go. There's this little pin just there. Oops, on the other side. And that little pin there, you had to make sure that pin was set, and then when you take the lens off, because you can't take that lens off now, and when you take that lens off, that would release that pin. Now, people kind of thought, it was just so that the lens wouldn't fall off, but it's not the case at all. It's not the case at all. It was actually so that the pin would land exactly in the spot that it needed inside the camera, so that it could do what's known as an open aperture light reading, which basically means that when you are stopping down, when you're using a lower aperture, the camera, normally a Spotmatic, for example, the darkness, you start to lose light because the aperture is closing. But what Olympus created was a system that you could close the aperture down, but the aperture would still be open, but you would still get the reading of what the light was going to be. That was it was a pretty big technology in that time, and was actually then adopted into the OM1 system. And in fact, there was a Fujica camera at the time that also adopted that camera as well. So the FtL, a great little camera, manual camera. Oh, hang on, is that in front of me again? I should, sometimes you just got to get it right. There we go. I'll just move that in front of me. Oh, that didn't work, did it? No, because I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. But camera, fully manual camera, beautiful camera. Thanks, Uncle, for this camera here. We have on the top here, as I just go up here, I'll just do this again so you can see. So we've got our shutter speeds there that go up to 1/500th of a second. Just want to make sure on that. Sorry, that's 1,000th of a second, right? We also had a battery check setting here as well, so you could always check the battery. So what was the battery for? Well, the battery would go under there, and that was for the light meter, because the light meters were using batteries, right? We got the self-timer control on the front here. Let me just get that so you can see that. I might just adjust. It's really hard when you're kind of doing this all on your own. So there's the 10-second light meter that would set the camera off Now, for all you, all you newbies, see, there in there, actually, you might not even be able to see it, but there's the ISO setting where you had to pick the film itself. You had to pick the film to see what, not like today, where you kind of, you're looking at, you can adjust the ISO straight away. It's just kind of just so good. What else was so fantastic about? Oh yeah, on the side there, we could put a little flash. So this had, you could add a flash. So there's a little contact point for the flash. But if you wanted to have a studio flash, that was what the little pin on the side there was there for those people who might be curious about, flashes. And also, what we do love about old cameras is the cable release that I could then put into the top of the camera up there. Didn't we love doing that? Where we would kind of press the button like that, and then we just take a shot. Listen to this. Listen to this. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that just beautiful? Optical viewfinder, just a gorgeous camera. Now, I've got to say, I do love this camera. I thank Uncle Wayne for getting me this camera as well. It's a very unique camera, as I said, and I'm so glad to have one. So, well, it's now 8:57. That kind of brings us up to the end of our show. I thank you for the comments that people are there. I'm kind of, oh, excuse me. I've spoken so much. I think I forgot to have a drink. Thank you very much. I hope you all had a good time tonight. That does bring us to the end of our show tonight. Hopefully you've learnt something. Maybe you've had a laugh at my expense. Hey, that's okay. Don't forget this Sunday, it's the 21st of November. It's a great day. It's my wife's birthday. We're going to go I'm going to work her on Sunday. We're going to be capturing some great images in Marrickville. So if you want to get heaps of really cool photos, come and see us for that. It is 8:57. I'm just going to kill time here for the next 3 minutes. If there's anybody who wants to make a little comment here, I'm ready to, just say something. Like me or something. I don't know. There's 3 of you at the moment that I know that are kind of out there. It's a great honor that you're letting me talk to you guys for an hour a week of your time, where you could be watching things like, I don't know, is that The Bachelorette? No, it's Tuesday night. It's probably not The Bachelorette. No, I don't really know. But there's so many things that you could be doing. But hey, it is Tuesday nights. It's the Photo Jam with Photo Joe. You guys make it something. Okay, thank you. There's always one, isn't there? There's always one. I said, please say something. And so someone says something. It's a great show tonight. I found the Nikon. Do you know, it's interesting about the Nikon relationship, because I kind of, and look, no, Craig, I know that you've worked with Nikon. And this is Nikon Australia who's announced. This is not Nikon around the world. This is Nikon Australia. So I guess it's all about watching this space. Next week, I'm going to talk to you about how much fun we had at the graffiti. So we're going to keep an eye out. I'm going to keep an eye out. When I talk a lot, I start to stumble my words, and people think, "Oh, have you been drinking?" I haven't. It's just that. But as I was saying, thank you all for joining me tonight. It's been it's just been a really nice time to have you all listening to me for an hour. I love setting up for this, though I do freak out just before I get started to make sure that the technology works. I had a little bit of a technology write down because it didn't go onto my website. I don't know. Facebook just seems to change their life every day. Anyway, thanks, Joe. Tonight, back memories of my first camera, Pentax 1974, with some of those features. 1974. Now, that could have been a K1000, That would have been a K1000. Could have been a Spotmatic. And I'm going to suss out what a Pentax was doing in 1947. Sorry, 1974. I'll get that right. It's very small writing on my computer screen over here. So with that, thank you very much. Have an awesome weekend. And I'll see you next week. So that's bye for now. think I couldn't do it. This time I couldn't create an event. I was just going straight in.
But it's on your site.
No, that's afterwards.
No, it's on your site now.
No, it's not.
It is because I went to view it and it showed me. I went to your site.
This is last week's because I posted it.
No, because I went to there.
Yeah, that's Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm talking about smarter digital.
Right, no. I meant on Facebook.
No, I'm not.
It worked on Facebook.
I know that.
Yeah.
No, because I posted. Ryan came on, I think it was there the other night.
Yeah, I didn't know that his name was Graham Smith.
Right.
I've seen Graham Smith before because Graham Smith is Adam's father. Nikki and Adam.
Oh, right, okay.
His name is Graham Smith.
Right.
And I have seen Graham Smith come up on your thing.
Right. Right.
But I didn't realise that was Graham.
He's the ambulance. He's ex-ambulance.
Right? It was so funny because I was in the bedroom watching you and you were struggling about Final Queensland FNQ. You said Queensland FNQ.
Oh, ooh, juicy. I'm turning the volume up now.
That's why I put it on.
Ah, right. Oh,